What if I told you the Cleveland Browns aren't benching Deshaun Watson because of his performance on the field? What if the real reason involves a secret financial loophole, potential insurance fraud, and a backroom deal with the NFL that could either save the franchise over $100 million or blow up in the most catastrophic way possible? Buckle up, because what's happening behind closed doors in Berea right now is absolutely insane, and Shedeur Sanders has no idea he's walking into the eye of this storm. Let me paint you a picture. February 14th, 2026. While you're watching highlights and mock drafts, there's a meeting happening at the Browns facility that could change everything. Owner Jimmy Haslam, GM Andrew Berry, head coach Kevin Stefanski, the team's top lawyers, insurance investigators, and yes, representatives from the NFL league office itself, all crammed into one room. The topic: how to make Deshaun Watson disappear without destroying the salary cap for the next half-decade. This isn't your typical moving on from a struggling quarterback situation. This is something much darker, much more complex, and if it goes sideways, it could trigger investigations, lawsuits, and a scandal that makes the original Watson trade look like child's play. Here's what the public story sounds like. Watson got suspended for 12 games in 2026. He's injury-prone. The performance hasn't been there. Time to move on and draft Shedeur Sanders, the perfect fit for this offense. Fresh start, new era. Cleveland football is back, baby. That's the narrative they want you to believe. But the real story? It's buried under layers of financial manipulation, insurance claims gone wrong, and a scheme so risky that if even one detail leaks at the wrong time, this entire house of cards collapses. Let's start with the insurance angle, because this is where things get juicy. When the Browns handed Deshaun Watson that fully guaranteed $230 million contract back in March 2022, they did what any smart organization would do with that kind of financial exposure. They bought insurance. Massive insurance. We're talking about a policy from a major sports insurance company that would cover career-ending injuries, permanent disabilities, and specific conduct-related suspensions. The Browns were paying somewhere between $15 and $20 million a year in premiums for this protection. Now, here's where it gets interesting. After Watson tore his Achilles in 2024 and missed significant time, the Browns filed a claim. After his 12-game suspension in 2026, they filed another one. But here's the problem. The insurance company isn't paying. They're investigating. And when insurance companies investigate claims worth hundreds of millions of dollars, they don't just check boxes and write checks. They dig. They scrutinize. They look for any possible reason to deny coverage. Sources close to this situation are saying the insurance company has found red flags. Big ones. They're investigating whether Watson's injuries were pre-existing conditions that should have been disclosed before the policy was issued. They're questioning whether his actions that led to the 2026 suspension are actually covered under the policy language. But the nuclear bomb in all of this? They're investigating whether the Browns might have hidden information or straight up lied about Watson's medical history when they applied for the insurance policy in the first place. If the insurance company can prove the Browns committed fraud to get that policy, they could deny every single claim and potentially sue to get back all the premiums they've already been paid. Let that sink in for a second. Now this is where it gets absolutely wild. Internal documents reportedly show that the Browns' medical staff had serious concerns about Watson's long-term durability before they even finalized the trade and contract in 2022. Team doctors allegedly flagged significant wear and tear on his throwing shoulder, structural issues with his knee that could lead to future problems, and an injury history that screamed high risk. But when the Browns applied for that insurance policy, those concerns were either downplayed or not fully disclosed. The application allegedly painted Watson as generally healthy with no major long-term injury red flags, which directly contradicted what their own medical team was saying behind closed doors. If that's true, if the Browns knowingly misrepresented Watson's medical condition to secure insurance coverage, that's textbook fraud. And if the insurance company proves it, they'll deny those $100 million claims and possibly pursue legal action against the organization. The Browns would be on the hook for every penny of Watson's remaining guaranteed money, with no insurance payout to soften the blow. That's over $90 million through 2028, all hitting the salary cap like a financial asteroid. But here's where the secret strategy comes in, and this is the part that should have every NFL fan paying attention. Sources say the Browns' legal team is working directly with the NFL league office to find a solution that would let Cleveland void Watson's contract without taking the usual dead cap hit. Think about that for a second. The team and the league working together, figuring out how to make a fully guaranteed contract disappear in a way that doesn't obliterate the salary cap. How does that even work? Well, allegedly it works like this. The Browns are negotiating a settlement with Watson's camp. Watson walks away quietly, gets paid a lump sum to void his contract, and the NFL grants Cleveland a special salary cap exemption that spreads that payment over 5 years instead of hitting all at once. Watson's team originally wanted $70 million to go away. That number reportedly came down to $50 million. The Browns are willing to pay it, and the NFL is apparently willing to give them the cap relief to make it happen without crippling the franchise. Let's be crystal clear about what this means. This is cap manipulation on a level we rarely see. If the Browns didn't have this exemption, they'd be stuck paying Watson, unable to sign free agents, unable to extend their own players, unable to build a competitive roster around whoever they draft. But with this secret deal with the league office, they get to bypass the normal rules and gain a massive competitive advantage over the other 31 teams. If this gets out, those teams are going to lose their minds. This is the kind of backroom dealing that gives certain franchises an edge that just shouldn't exist. But the NFL plays chess while everyone else plays checkers, and if a league wants Deshaun Watson out of football, they'll find a way to make it happen, rules be damned. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun have no idea any of this is happening. The Browns are quietly working on getting Watson out while simultaneously positioning themselves to draft Shedeur, all without telling the Sanders family that they're the contingency plan. The Browns have been smart about it too. They've kept quiet publicly about their interest in Shedeur. Other teams have dominated the Shedeur-Sanders narrative. There's been speculation about Cleveland exploring other quarterback options, and that's by design. If the Browns go all in publicly on Shedeur, it tips off other teams and creates a bidding war that forces Cleveland to trade up and give away draft capital. But if they stay silent and let Shedeur's stock fluctuate because of all the manufactured controversy Deshaun's been stirring up, there's a chance Shedeur falls to them without needing to move up at all. The entire plan depends on getting out of the Watson contract first, which is why these behind-the-scenes negotiations with Watson's camp and the NFL league office are absolutely critical. If those talks fall apart and Watson refuses to settle, the Browns are stuck paying him while trying to build around Shedeur anyway, assuming they even draft him. That's a nightmare scenario. But here's the thing. Sources say the negotiations are progressing. Watson's legal team has dropped their ask from $70 million to $50 million. The Browns are ready to pay that in one lump sum, and the NFL has greenlit the salary cap exemption that spreads the $50 million impact over 5 years instead of nuking 2026 entirely. Kevin Stefanski is already preparing for the 2026 season, assuming Shedeur Sanders is his starting quarterback. He's designing an offense tailored to Shedeur's strengths. He's assembling his coaching staff with developing a young quarterback in mind. He's operating under the assumption that Watson is gone and Shedeur is the future. But if this Watson settlement crumbles and the Browns can't escape that contract, Stefanski's entire plan implodes. The team is stuck paying $90 million for Watson to sit on the bench while trying to develop a rookie quarterback without the cap space to build a real supporting cast around him. That's the nightmare scenario, and it's absolutely on the table. Now let's talk about what could go wrong because, oh boy, there are a lot of ways this blows up. If Watson's legal team leaks details about the settlement negotiations, especially if they reveal what the Browns are offering and why, it could trigger an NFLPA grievance. The players' union would argue that Watson is being forced out through collusion between the team and the league, that his fully guaranteed contract is being violated. If the insurance company's fraud investigation finds evidence that the Browns misrepresented Watson's medical history, they could deny all the claims and sue the organization. That wouldn't just cost the Browns hundreds of millions. It could lead to criminal charges if prosecutors decide to pursue insurance fraud. If other NFL teams find out about the special salary cap exemption being granted to Cleveland, they could file grievances arguing it gives the Browns an unfair advantage. That could trigger a league-wide investigation into how the NFL manages its salary cap and potentially expose other instances of favoritism. And if Shedeur Sanders finds out he's being drafted into the middle of all this chaos, into a franchise playing games with contracts and making shady deals just to clear room for him, he might not want any part of it. Deshaun has already warned teams about dysfunctional organizations, and this would be Exhibit A. As of right now, February 14th, 2026, the negotiations are ongoing. The Browns, Watson's camp, and the NFL are trying to finalize everything before the draft in April. The goal is to have Watson officially released by early March, giving Cleveland a clear path forward with their offseason plan, which includes drafting Shedeur. The timeline is tight. The draft is only 2 months away. Insurance investigations take time. Legal negotiations are unpredictable. One leak, one unexpected twist, and the whole thing could fall apart. And if you think this is just another Browns disaster in the making, you're not entirely wrong. Even when this franchise tries to make the right move by moving on from a failing quarterback, they do it through backroom negotiations, salary cap gymnastics, and strategies that could spectacularly backfire if anything goes wrong. So if you want to stay ahead of this story, if you want to know exactly what happens when this powder keg either saves the Browns or explodes in their faces, you need to subscribe to Browns Breakout right now. Hit that like button, turn on notifications, because this story is far from over. The real reason the Browns are moving from Deshaun Watson to Shedeur Sanders has nothing to do with football evaluation or building for the future. It's about financial desperation, calculated legal maneuvering, and a hidden partnership between the team and the league that's bending contracts and salary caps in ways that would cause outrage if they were public. Shedeur Sanders, a talented young quarterback, is about to walk into a situation he absolutely doesn't deserve, potentially becoming the face of what might be the most dysfunctional franchise in all of professional sports. This is the Browns we're talking about. And somehow, even when they try to do the right thing, they find a way to make it as messy, as complicated, and as controversial as humanly possible.